That's it. We are on our way. I will pause my music. Okay, so here we are. Thank you so much for coming in. Oh, yeah, let me just land for a second because I get super excited about these things. So thanks for joining this session. Today we're going to be talking about the mindset and opportunities to remove blocks and unlock possibilities as we leave 2024 in our rearview mirror and look forward to 2025. I like the idea of allowing the thoughts and beliefs that have held us back to remain in 2024. I like knowing that I can consciously adapt a different perspective as we enter into 2025 that will actually empower us. So the schedule for today is I will talk a bit about some stuff. We'll work through the exercise and we'll open it up for questions. And we're going to let someone in. And so the idea is I wanted to start about talking about what mindset is, because I find that a lot of people maybe have a different idea that isn't really helpful when they think about doing mindset work. So mindset is really made up of our beliefs we have about ourselves and the people around us and the world that we live in. And what we may not realize is how much of our mindset was programmed from our childhood right through to adulthood. So the values, the beliefs, and the standards we hold as our own are actually heavily influenced by the people, traditions, society, cultural norms that you may have grown up with. It's also the experiences that you've had, people or things that have happened that brought you joy or have brought you pain. Collectively, it's all under the name of programming. And so our programming has installed beliefs about who we are, what we're capable of, how far we can stray from the norm, what we're allowed to reach for, things that we need permission or validation about, and a deep concern for what others think about us. There's a lot more, but those seem to be the top ones that we all struggle with because the programming sets up these limitations in our mindset. So, for example, as adults, we can sometimes feel at odds with what is expected of us. And that becomes a struggle because we don't know how to go against the grain, or we are confused about how to move forward when the important people in our lives don't approve or understand our plans, or we might run in circles, just trying to get things just right so that we can seem as perfect as possible because the idea of being judged is too painful for us. And yet, when we look at children, we can see, young children especially, we can see how free of concern they are. They don't care about your opinion of them. They literally don't give a crap if you think that their hair is unbrushed and they have chocolate on their face and their outfit doesn't match. They have no concerns about being messy or unpolished. They believe that their best is good enough. All they care about is being in the moment, fully in themselves, following their curiosity and having fun. And along the way to adulthood, we lose our sense of self. We lose that freedom to be in the moment, to follow curiosity and have fun. Our childhood freedom shrinks as we learn to fit into the expectations of our parents, society, and culture. And we are consumed, it seems, to avoid the judgment of others. Whereas when we were younger, we didn't even know we were being judged. So we also take lessons learned, these lessons learned from painful experiences. And we make up stories to keep us safe so we don't ever have to be hurt again or embarrassed or scared. And with each passing year, as we grow up, we adopt more and more of this programming. When we dive into mindset work, we are investigators of our truth. We have to enter into it with curiosity and compassion for ourselves. We do the work to pull away from those adopted beliefs and past hurts and move ourselves back towards what's true for us. So I think it's safe to say where most of us are in are midlife or close to midlife. And we have some programming to uncover and transform that we may not even be aware of. The good news is that this work is best done in the company of others. So thanks for being here, because you're actually helping each other as well as yourselves. Because I think it's really important for you to know you're not the only one. Now, the idea of transformation in the programming is really key. When we uncover a piece of programming, we can't just pull it out and move on. We actually have to replace that with a new belief. We have to transform our perspective of ourselves, one that is true for us, aligned with our desires, and will naturally call us forward. The most important mindset shift comes from realizing who we think we are versus who we think we're not. So that mindset work is really inner work. While we can't change what's happening around us, we can affect our own experience of it. So right now, the economy is unfavorable for many. Basic needs are expensive. People are being laid off. And even just finding accessible ways to have fun is a challenge. And we're heading into holiday, we're looking for some fun. So with my background in my LAC programming, this is literally a generational hand-me-down programming that I have. I would look at the state of the economy right now and think there's not enough to go around. So I should not expect people to be interested in investing in their mindset. Or maybe I should even be thinking about lowering my prices to make it more, to be able to attract more people to it. Except that in 2020, during all the restraints of COVID, it was my lowest revenue year. I was terrified because I didn't understand what was going on. I think all of us sort of felt that. And yet that was the year I chose to invest in mindset coaching for myself, because I knew I needed help to see myself differently so I could show up differently. Many businesses were financially suffering from the restraints of COVID in 2020. And let me tell you, the coach that I hired did not lower her prices because people were struggling. In fact, she had a booming year of signups because she showed up in her full power. She made sure that everyone who was a match for her could see her. She stood firm on the price to work with her because she knew that it was right based on the value that it offered. And when people decide to go all in, they always figure out the money piece. And she was right, because I didn't allow my low revenue and all the scary unknowns of COVID to stop me from investing myself that year. I managed to transform my programmed lack mentality into a powerful decision to invest in myself, because the money I invested wasn't for her. Yes, she received it, but it wasn't for her. The money I invested was for me. So instead of hiding and feeling like this version of me was stuck, instead of believing that I'm not bold enough to go after something new and I'm falling back into the comfort of my lack mentality, I chose to show up differently. I made a bold investment, but the investment wasn't only money. It was self-belief to bet on myself. It was also self-trust to trust my intuition. So in 2020, I knew I wanted something different from my business, but I wasn't sure what it would look like. I did know that if I wanted something different, I'd have to show up differently and do something different. So almost 3 years ago now, I successfully transitioned my business coaching agency into a solo mindset coaching practice. And I am happy that I did it. Has it been easy? No, it's not, as we try new things on, but I'm really glad I did it. On a side note, the coach that I hired in 2020 was someone who I was following for a while. I saw her as an inspiration to show up authentically and be rewarded. Oftentimes we believe that our authentic self isn't enough. And for me, she was proof that your authentic self is plenty. So sometimes we see people doing amazing things And we believe somehow that we aren't enough to do the same. So instead, I suggest that when you see people doing amazing things, you take it as evidence that it's possible for you too. It's a message from your childhood sense of self that says, go for it. So as we close out 2024, this session is an opportunity to uncover or reveal something that you'd like to leave behind. What belief about yourself or your story are you transforming? And what reward will that transformation get you in 2025? So if that sounds good, I'm going to move us into the exercise piece. Are there any questions so far? No, nothing? Okay, great. Let's move to the exercise piece. So if you please either write it for yourself or pop it in the chat. What is it that you want to be different in 2025? Maybe you want more of something, or maybe you want something new. What would be that thing that you want in 2025? And it's something that may cause you to stretch. It may cause you to let go of one thing to pick up something new. For me, it would be to book more interviews on podcasts, get invited to speak on panels, because I'd like to be a part of the conversations that people are having that would help us move forward and empower us to rise, be seen, share our value. So, how about you? What is it that you would like to be different? Or what would you like to invite into your life next year?
Are we writing this down
Mm-hmm. You can
or are
write
we
it down or
sharing?
you can put it in the chat.
Okay.
I will put on the music and give you guys a little time to work on that. I know sharing in the chat is a bold move, and if you feel called to do it, go ahead and do it. We'd love to cheer you on. However, you need to feel safe to do that. So if you don't know anybody else in the group today and you aren't ready to do that, that's okay too. Nice. Reach new revenue levels. Just expand that for a minute. Hold you there. And okay, reach new revenue levels via speaking opportunities. Yeah, you'd be great at that, Dee. And corporate workshops. Invest in your retirement and insurance. Yeah, yeah, because you're not just living for today. I mean, a beautiful thing to do is to actually think about yourself, 5 years out, 10 years out. And we get so hyper focused on today and tomorrow and next month that some of these things are long games. And so we've got to be able to invest in things now that will actually not pay off immediately, but will pay off down the road. Debbie, you are looking to transition into a new career, sort of, that provides more balance and allows me to be more present at home. Yes, 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 yes to that. Absolutely. I don't know what the sort of is. Sounds like it might be related to what you're already doing. And hold on to that, because the rest of the exercise is going to help you unpack that a little bit. And then we can open it up for questions at the end. Anybody else want to share, or everybody else finished writing down? I see Renata's head is still down. Hadia, you're still head down, still writing it out. Okay. So the next question is, now that you know what you want to invite in for 2025, what is the belief or the story or the obligation or the fear that you need to leave behind in order for this new thing to happen? So it could be no one takes me seriously in this role. If it's something new that you just stepped into and you're feeling like imposter syndrome, maybe you have lost your job and you think no one's hiring because the economy is so awful right now. I can't raise my prices in this economy, or there's too much to do for everyone else and not enough time for me. So write it down or put it in the chat or both. What is the story? What is the belief? What is the fear? What obligations do you have that you feel are preventing you from calling this in to your life? Oh, Renata, you put yours in. So expanding my business with virtual cooking classes, recorded YouTube cooking classes, e-recipe books, and ultimately be more motivated with time management to make all of this happen. Yeah, it's a nice tall order. I like it. And it's definitely within your wheelhouse to do all of that. Okay, so Debbie, you don't have the right, you put in quotes, expertise, especially in a skills-based hiring tough job market. Okay, so there's the right expertise and the rights in quotations. So we can unpack that a little bit more as a technical piece. And then it's to get hired, you need to have that skill base. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, anything where we're going to apply for a job, there is the base measurement of skills, and so when your resume lands, it needs to be, do they, assume the base level of skills? And I know that some of us are career coaches on this call. So, and it being a tough hiring market. Now, that's the part, though, where your mindset comes into play. Because if we decide that it is a tough hiring market, that sets us up in a limited capacity right away. So, the right expertise and the skills piece are technical pieces we need to address as the bare minimum. But getting past that and believing that there is the right fit for you. And also, I've talked to a lot of people about careers lately, and they're going into interviews and they're excited about the possibility, and I try to remind them to also be excited to know if that company or that opportunity really is a fit for you, and not just be so completely consumed up being a fit for that, because often then we get there and we think it's great and we miss something and it's not what we thought it would be. So there's that as well. D, you want to leave behind the I don't have enough time, no one will book me, and money is too tight to invest in. Yes, yes, those are major ones for sure. Time, money. I mean, and then there's the lack of no one will book me, right? Like there's that coming through. Like we see it there. Yeah. I mean, we're not going to argue with you. You only have so much money, you can only go so far. So then if we are untangling that, we're looking for ways to say, okay, where will the money come from? Instead of saying that there's not enough money to invest. Yes, right now, if I look at my bank account and the money had to come from my bank account, there's not enough money to invest. However, the money can come from other sources in other ways. And so we have to shift that around. So keep going with this and see what else comes up. Okay. The next question. Okay, so what I wanted to say before we move on is that if we hold on to these beliefs instead of leaving them behind, it's a choice we're making, right? And so we are going to, when we allow these beliefs to say, it might affect people in our lives if we make a different choice. If I have to take time for myself, it means taking time from other people, and that often comes up. So the other thought could be, can we choose to believe that when we make a change that is best for us, that it becomes a catalyst for somebody else to make a change that's best for them. Because when we call ourselves up, we can maybe give the idea and even the permission to other people to call themselves up as well. Because, like you, the other people in your life have free will to make a decision that's best for them. And I understand that we may already be saying to ourselves, yeah, I've heard that, but I don't know how they would do that. That's the thing is, it's not your problem to solve. You have to show people how you show up fully so they can figure out how they can also show up fully. But we'll keep going anyway. So if you are going to leave this limiting belief behind in 2024, what is the new belief you would replace it with to support you in 2025? So as an example, if it's no one will take me seriously in this role, that could be replaced with I take myself seriously in this role and I fully show up as my best and authentic self. Because if you aren't taking yourself seriously, you start to project that onto other people. If it was, I can't raise my prices in this economy, we can replace that with, I offer incredible value at this new pricing. And clients know that this is an investment in themselves. If there's too much to do for everybody else and not enough time for you, you could change that to be, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to let others figure it out. So see what it is that you put in the chat or you put down your piece of paper and take it and turn it around. How could you see it differently? Because often when I'm stuck, that's the question I ask. I ask, how can I see this differently? So Hadida says, leave behind the feeling of being an aimless arrow and rediscover my lost sense of purpose. That's what you're leaving behind, is your feeling of being aimless. And you're going to rediscover your sense of purpose. Beautiful. Beautiful. If you put a few in the chat or put a few on your paper, just pick one and say, this was the story. These were the words in my head. And this is how I've turned it around to see it differently. And the thing is, it takes time for, like, you may turn it around, but it takes a while for you to keep thinking about it and mulling it over and sitting with it for it to become natural for you to believe this now. Hey, Debbie, I do have many skills and experience to offer, would welcome the opportunity to learn more. Yes. Yes, because you are not starting from zero. This is not the first time you're showing up fresh out of school or whatever it is, whatever training program, and you have nothing to draw from. Yes, 100%. I mean, in my business coaching, when I ran my agency, mindset was always a huge piece of it, because we took people from their careers who were about to launch into their own business. That is a huge mindset shift. So that's why I knew that mindset work was so important. And then for me, though, to leave all of that legacy that I have as a business consultant and coach to only narrow my focus down to mindset was a huge piece. So yes, I love that. I'm not starting from scratch. There is always more to learn, but that doesn't mean that I'm limited. It means I can actually expand into it. I love that. KD, I guess getting the time is like the money equation. Where can it come from if I can't make more? Oh my gosh, yes, right? The light bulb went on. You're like, that's just it. I can't be here and there. So I have to let go of one to pick up the other. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my lack mentality says, hold on to my money. right? But I don't go anywhere holding on to it. I actually have to let it go. I actually have to put it to use to expand more. Yes, yes. I nailed it, Debbie. Excellent. Thank you. The new business is a long-term goal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, I know people who have jumped in with both feet off right into the deep end and they make it. They also made it hard on themselves by doing that. So they would tell you if they could do it over, they would take a bit of a run up. They would give themselves some runway to lead up before they jump off, because there are things to know and there is a way to approach it that makes it a lot easier on your system, because it is a shift. Okay. So with this new belief or this new perspective as your foundation, how will you show up differently in 2025? Because I could give Debbie all kinds of strategies for launching the business. I can give her a framework to work from. I mean, I know that stuff back and forth. But how Debbie shows up is what's going to, really determine how well she does, how long it takes her to get up and running, how big she can grow. So, with this new belief or perspective as your foundation, how will you show up differently in 2025? What's the feeling inside of you? Is it more confidence? Is it greater conviction? Hadia talked about finding her purpose and really following that instead of giving herself a story that she's aimless. So are you going to be more convicted about what it is that you want to do? Are you feeling more empowered to make that bold move? Which parts of your personality will shine through now that you have this new perspective, that it's within your power to change what happens next, or at least guide what happens next? So how would you describe your vibe in 2025? Okay, Renata, look at things that I have to get to do, or I get to do these things. Yes, yes, that's a huge shift. 100%, Renata. When we say we get to do that, I mean, we all have to do laundry. And it's a chore. And I don't know too many people who love doing laundry. But the fact that we get to do it, the fact that we have clothes, I mean, in our school, in my youngest son's school, they're collecting items to support a family in need. That mom doesn't have much laundry to do because she doesn't have much to launder. So when you think about it, you get to do laundry. You kind of all of a sudden your gratitude for all the abundance you have just rises. So yes, beautiful. Ask for help for those things that are not my skill set versus learning to do it myself. Yes. Yes. We have worked on some things, and I know that you do a lot of things yourself, but there is a lot that you can get help with. And people adore and love you, Renata. And all you have to do is ask, and they would be there for you in a second, for sure. Yes. Debbie, my belief is to trust the process. I will land where I'm supposed to land. Yes. You can't, there's something that I always talk about, and that is we can't control outcomes. We can control intent, we can control our intentions, right? What it is that we want to bring, what is that we want to get out of an experience, how we want to show up, what value we want to provide to other people. However, the outcome, how someone receives it or how something plays out, that we don't have control of. So your intention is to find a better fitting position for you as a career, and or figure out whether or not you would like to launch a business and what does that look like and what does it take. So you're an investigator right now. That's what you are. You're investigating all the possibilities. And as you keep moving forward with beautiful curiosity and compassion for yourself in the times that you feel a little bit scared, that's okay, because more will come. And so the idea is the more we investigate and the more we keep moving forward, more information comes to us. Then that information is a piece of information that we now take and we say, okay, now what? Where does that lead me? Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I talk to that person? Do I show up at this meeting? And it just keeps going. And in that way, even though we may have a 5 or 10-year plan, it's just the next step in front of us that we have to actually focus on. So you have the big plan, but the next step, you don't want to get overwhelmed. So we just keep going little by little. So I love that. Love, love, love. Anybody else? No? Okay, keep going. Jody just came in. Hi, Jody. We're taking them
Hi,
through an
everyone.
exercise where we're asking about goals and what it is that we want to bring in to us in the new year, and what is the story or the belief holding us back. Then we turn that into, how do we turn that around? How do we rephrase that? So it opens up possibility. And then from that new rephrasing, then how do we feel? What's our vibe in 2025 as we want to move forward? And that was, I think that was the last question. Okay, so the next question is from this new feeling, from this new vibe that you have of how you're going to show up now in 2025. What are the new choices, decisions, or investments that you are ready to make? So what opportunity can you pursue? I know all the things that you believe are not possible or available to you, but what is available? What can you pursue? You know, what support can you ask for? You know, you have a long to-do list and there's all these things you want to get accomplished and you keep beating yourself up because you never get to them. Well, what some of these things are not always only on your plate. Where can you ask for support? What decision that you've been holding back on because you think you're not ready, or you don't have this, or you don't have that? What decision can you make to just do it messy, to do it from a place that you are right now? So if you'd like to share in the chat, please do. Otherwise, write it down for yourself. That's the most important piece, because you can do this again and again. So see where you're starting from now. And as you move forward, when you look back in a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you'll actually see the growth. So these notes are really important for you to keep. So Dee says, make the powerful moves to say no. Yes, say no. I'll tell you, especially I know Renata well, our yes light is always on. And at the end of the day, we are depleted and we realize that it was nice to say yes and we were glad that we were able to help somebody out, but we ripped ourselves off. Say no, definitely. That's a big power move, which will allow you to have time to focus in the right areas and not be held back. 100%. Look at that. People are applauding you, loving it, and praising you for doing it. Right? I know. All the love in the chat. This is why you got to put the stuff in the chat so we can all cheer you on. This is so good. You just put money in your time account. Nicely said, Debbie. Look at that. Well done. Discover that you have to let people go to surround yourself with people who can support. Yes. Some people are hanging on. What's that little sucker-like fish that hangs onto the back of the shark or whatever, you know, like some of them are just hanging around. They like being in your energy, right? And yet when you're looking for support, you're looking for someone who will, you know, hold you steady as you take that next courageous step. They're nowhere around. They're out getting a latte with the others. So you really do have to look around at who's in your tight circle. I just recorded a podcast with those same words, Dee. There you go. So it's, you know, it's here for us. Yes, 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 yes. Anyone else have a bold move or a courageous action or decision they want to share? If not, think about it, pop it in. So knowing that this is where you want to go, how you need to show up, what are the, you know, ideas that are coming forward? What is one action you can take today to be of service to your dream? There's something you want that you wrote at the very start of this, which is, what do I desire in 2025, right? What do I want to call in? What do I want to be different? What is one action today? You get off this call and you put something in motion. Jody, surrounding myself in community of ambitious women making power moves. Yes, because I know Jody is gearing up to do something fantastic. Jody and I met, I don't know, what, a month or more ago at a mastermind of all these amazing women. In fact, Daisy was there as well. We were at the same table. And these women have great ideas and ambitions. And the beautiful thing about meeting together for masterminds with people who are wanting to grow is that there is no shame in ambition. And there's no shame in thinking that you can be something more than what you are right now. That is super powerful. So does anybody have any ideas about what is the one thing they could put in motion as soon as they get off this call? And don't, I told you to have a drink of water next to you. Have the drink of water, because I don't want to hear I need to get a drink of water before I do this. No, you're going to do it right after. You're going to send the email. You're going to ask the question. You're going to book the call. You're going to whatever it is. Hadia, say more yes to myself and find my tribe. Yes. Yes. And to find your tribe, I would say, you know what? To help you along with that, to identify them, what is it that the things that you admire about the people you admire? Like, so if Taylor Swift was here and it caused the entire city to be on their heads full of sparkle and pink. I don't know what was going on. However, what she has been able to accomplish, when you look at her, whether you like her music or not, what she's been able to accomplish is admirable for a woman and a young woman. And so look at people who you admire and pull out the qualities that you admire in them. If they're fearless, if they, if they take risk, because often women are not taught to take risk. So what is it about them? Are they completely authentic? Do they not give a crap what anyone thinks? Right. And so whatever it is about them in their personalities, maybe it's the type of work they do that you want, that you really admire. Maybe it's how they selflessly give that you really admire. Maybe it's how they make space for themselves that you really admire. Whatever it is, find those qualities and write them down. And then know that those qualities, the only reason that you can find those qualities as something that you admire about somebody is because it already exists inside of you. So if you see it, it's because you have it too. You're attracted to that because you have it. And maybe you just need to love yourself a little more and allow that to expand, because wouldn't that be gorgeous, Hadia? If you found more people who had these qualities and were able to call it up in you. So D, I definitely can realign my time account. This is fantastic. I have to go. Take care. Okay. See you. Okay. So that was the end of the exercise. I'm actually going to stop recording so that we can have a chat openly if anybody wants questions to be answered. Hang on one second. Let's see here.